Hello, and thank you for joining me. Today, I wanted to introduce you to a really great resource that I think you'll find very helpful, and it's called SlideMania. And first and foremost, why I love SlideMania is because it is free. And as a teacher, you love free things. And I'm probably going to mention the fact that it's free 100 times before this video is over, but it is free. And that's number one why it's great. However, SlideMania is so much more than that. And it is going to be a spot for you to come to if you want to take your Google Slides presentations or Google Slides lessons to the next level. So traditionally, when we use Google Slides, it is just a presentation, which there can be value there that allows our students to interact with content. But if we want to use Google Slides as a tool to create authentic learning experiences for our students, allow them opportunities to interact with not only the content, but each other and ourselves as their teacher as well, then SlideMania is kind of our vehicle for doing that. So a little bit of background for you. SlideMania was created by a woman named Paula who lives in Spain. And what's really interesting to me is that her background or sh her job is not making Google Slides. She works in finance. And what happened was on her downtime, her weekends, she started making Google Slide templates as a way to be creative and decompress. And when she started making them, people were really liking them. And so it just grew and grew, and it grew into this wonderful resource. So when you come to SlideMania, and you can see the website's just slidesmania.com, there's a couple of different ways that you can access resources. There is, of course, this tab bar up here, which I'd like to come back to in a few minutes for you. But what you can also do is just come to the homepage of the site and scroll down. And right away, there's some collections of templates here that you can see. These are just kind of the most recent ones. And for myself, I always like to start here. I like to see what she's got new that she's made. As the website has grown, it's now other contributors that will make templates. So it's not just Paula anymore, but that's great news for us because there are literally hundreds of activities and templates and things here free for us to use. So I like to start here. But if you keep scrolling down, there's also a really helpful spot right at the bottom. This little search bar right here, if you were to type in something that you were looking for, something specific, you could use this search bar. So let's say I was looking for slides with maybe a classroom background. I could type in classroom background and it would take me to all the templates that might link up with that. So that's another good little tip for you to know. But scrolling back up here, also, I should mention that as this site is free, as I've mentioned, you will see occasionally these ads pop up. You know they're ads because you've got this little ad symbol here. So just make sure that you're not clicking on those. That's not what you need. You want to just find the free stuff, okay? So let's pretend that I have seen something that's caught my eye and I really want to give that a try. So in the simplest form, as I've said, SlideMania can give you some really nice, fancy looking templates. If I just want to make my presentation look really great, SlideMania has a lot of options for me. So when I find a template that I like, I just click on it. And once this loads, you'll see that not only does she give us these templates for free, but she also spends time explaining how to use the template, how to change things. So if I wanted a different color or a different picture, she will give you directions here on how to do that, which is great. And sometimes she even posts videos too on how to use things. So she is really a wonderful resource. Here's one of those pop-up ads that I talked to you about. So just don't get distracted by that download button. You want to keep scrolling. So you can keep scrolling down till you see this button here, open in Google Slides. Now, you may have also noticed that it gives you the option to download it in PowerPoint. So yes, this lesson, we've been spending time getting comfortable with Google Slides, but if you're someone who really just prefers to use PowerPoint, I want you to know that SlideMania can also be an excellent resource for you because you can download in PowerPoint. Okay, but for today's lesson, let's go with opening in Google Slides. So the other great thing about this site is it allows me to preview that particular template to make sure I really do like it before I go ahead and download it for myself. So this is your preview window. And what you can do is just come to this little arrow down here and click through the slides, and it lets you see what kind of style you're going to get when you download it. Now, you don't have to use every single slide. I'm going to show you this in a minute, but you could pick and choose. So maybe, oh, it's this slide that I really like, and I want just this one slide. You will be able to pick and choose what slide you like. And then, of course, you'll be able to change the text. So all of this writing you can change to what you need. You can even change the chalk color, and you can change the picture. So you're really just getting the style of these slides. So let's pretend, yes, I really like this one. I want to use it. All I'm going to do is go up to this blue button here and click Use Template. And then what's going to happen is it is going to open me a brand new Google Slides presentation that is my own, and I can change it as I like. So now I'm able to start clicking on these text areas, and I will be able to change the words to what it is I like. I can also click on the chalk, and I will be able to change the paint color there. And in a moment, once it loads, you're going to see all of the slides of this template pop up here. And then I get to pick and choose which ones I like and I want to use and which ones I'm not going to need, and I can just delete them, okay? And also I would change the title of this slide presentation to whatever it is I want this to be called, okay? But it's already saved it for me in my Google Drive. I don't have to do any more saving or anything like that. So it's pretty straightforward. It's very easy to go. Now I will say, if you do find one particular slide that you really, really like the style of and you want to have more of them, it's very easy. All you need to do, and I'm sorry, my computer's a little slow today for loading, but you get the idea. All you need to do is come to the slide that you really like, and if you right click, or on some cases double click on that slide, you're going to see, a drop down menu that appears. And what you want to do is duplicate slide. If you were to click new slide, you would just get a blank slide. But if you want to keep it the way it looks, then you really want to duplicate slide. So I'm going to click duplicate slide just so you can see what happens here. And there you go. I get another one that I can change. So maybe in this slide presentation, there's only one or two you really like, but you need several of them. You could just continue to duplicate. And then for ones that you don't like, if you just click on them, again, you can delete, and it will allow you to delete that slide out. And so now you can start by adding your text, adding your pictures, whatever you like, but you have all this wonderful, fancy looking stuff. So that, for me, is the simplest way to use SlideMania. And maybe for you, you are excited enough that you are ready to get going. But if you are looking for a way to engage your students, and we've talked about this before, remember, there are 3 different types of interactions that we can try to achieve. That's the student to student, student to content, and student to teacher. Then we can look for other activities in SlideMania that will allow us to do that. So if I take you up here to the Education tab, you can see right away that there are all sorts of things here for you that will help you to achieve those 3 types of interactions. So there's interactive templates, there's notebook style, which I'm going to take you through in a minute, but also manipulatives. So imagine now that you have students that are learning math and you want to give them some kind of way to count things out. Just like if you were in person, maybe you would be using your number blocks or your 100 blocks. There are all sorts of really great things in here that you get to download for free. Choice boards, I've seen in games, I've seen Connect 4, I've seen Battleship, I've seen Checkers. There's all sorts of really great interactive games here that you could be using as maybe your icebreaker activity or your Fun Friday activity. There's a lot of wonderful things in there as well. Weekly planners. So this is great, not just for you. I've also seen them created for students. So if you were looking to help students become more organized, that could be something. And also yearly planners. So as teachers, we like to plan out our year. There are some really really great digital ones in there. I like them a lot. But what I wanted to show you today is this notebook style. So one of my favorites has become the digital notebook because there are just so many exciting uses for this one template alone. So when I click on it, I'm now going to see, once it loads, several different options for making a digital notebook. So imagine, I'd like to say back in the old days where we all had binders, imagine that, but in a digital form, okay? Or you could also think about this as a workbook for students. So if we were together, we might be having them complete their work in a paper workbook. Now um, we can make that happen, but digitally. And there's just so many things that you can do with it. So here's a really cool one. This is a new one. It's a mini journal, so she's geared it towards a younger age group, and you can see the templates here. There's Venn diagrams, looks like a timeline. There's a graphic organizer, something like a T-chart. This is already made all for you. And all you have to do is go in and change the questioning or the text box, the directions. It's so simple. So that's just one. But I wanted to show you one that I really like and I've used. See, there's another pop-up ad, so just stay away from that. But going down to this one, the free digital notebook. I have used this as a student activity, but you can use it for so much more. So as I've mentioned before, um, you could use this as a resource binder. So I let's pretend that I want to put a book together or a binder together for my parents. Maybe I would like to show them a schedule for the year or a weekly agenda. Maybe I would like to show them the how to use the Google Classroom instruction video. Maybe there are forms that I need them to sign. I could be using this template to house all that or keep it all together. And so then I would just be sending one of these books or sharing one of these books with each one of my students and their family, and they could work their way through. So let's go inside. Let me show you what this looks like so you can visualize a little bit more. So again, I'm going to click open in Google Slides. And now you can see here is the preview of this slides book. So here's why it's so fun, I think, is you'll notice that there are these tabs along the side. And if I click on the tabs, it's going to take me to different sections of my binder. She's done what we call hyperlinks, okay? And the great thing is if you're not overly tech savvy, you don't really have to know any more than the fact that they are already hyperlinked for you. So you don't have to stress about getting them to go to the right spot. The only thing I'll caution is if you want to make more sections, just remember to duplicate, like I showed you on the last one. Duplicate your slide, okay? And then the hyperlinks will be saved. So let's pretend I want to go to topic B. Okay, so I click to topic B, and now all I do is I flip. And now I get to see what's inside of here. So I can, as the user of this template, I could maybe copy and paste in a Google Doc in here if I wanted parents to read something. I could put a YouTube video in here, or I could put my own instructional video in here. I could make this a a list of links that maybe students could use for math support or literacy support. I could put all sorts of things in here. Another way that I could use this is I could maybe use it as a frequently asked um, question and answer area for my parents. So maybe if my parents have questions for me, I could say, go to this topic E, and they could type their question in here, and then I could answer the question in here. And then if I had a parent that asked me, say, a week later, the same question, I could refer them to our resource handbook or a class handbook. I could also use this as a way to engage with my students. So if my students had questions about certain things, this could be the area that they come to type, and then I will come and respond for them so all students could see it. So the really it is it could be an excellent tool for you for housing all of that information. Another way that you could be using this is maybe you are going to, as I said, create a workbook that you'd like your students to go through. So maybe I'm going to copy and paste a worksheet for them to try here, or a reading that I would like them to do. Maybe it's a video I would like them to explore. I could put all sorts of information here. I could also type a question and they could come and answer it directly right on this slide page. So there are a lot of really awesome options. And of course, just like all the other templates, if I choose to use this one, once I get into it, I can be changing the tabs to say what it is I would like them to say. Okay. Now, one of the ways that I have used this is I asked my grade 10 history students for part of their year or semester end assignment was to create a history portfolio. And so I gave them a list of tasks that they could choose from: mind maps, timelines, infographics, all sorts of things. And they could also choose the topic in which they wanted to explore. And I asked them to create these or complete these individual tasks and then put them all together in a portfolio, which is really, as you can see, it is this digital notebook. And so for me, as the teacher who's coming to assess it, I'm able to see all of their tasks in one clean spot. And they were able to stay organized because they knew they just filled their portfolio and then shared it with me. So this is a student exemplar that I wanted to show you. So she's changed the tabs to say entry. And also she's got a bibliography down here. So as I said, they can use it. And this is a grade 10 student. So not a young learner, but someone that was able to figure it out pretty easily. So if I click on her first one, you can see she's going to talk about women's fashion. And then to get into that section, I just click the next slide. So she has chosen to link to a separate Google Doc. So I could click on this link and it would take me right to that Google Doc. But she could have also very well have copied and pasted her work right into this area. She could have taken a screenshot of that Google Doc if she wanted to and put it there as an image, or she simply could have, and some students did, type right on this slide and do her timeline right in this slide. That was entirely up to them. So if you had a younger learner, maybe this part is going to be too complicated linking it, but they could still type right into this space. So I can now click through her document. You can see that she's chosen to link to all sorts of things that way. But if I go to her bibliography, you can see she has chosen to do as I said. She's copied and pasted the text right into her portfolio this way. So this is just one way that she has chosen to use it. As I said, I had 30 different ways that the students chose to use their portfolio, but they all looked the same in the end for me in terms of exploring and assessing and giving them feedback. And I could also give them feedback right in here. If I wanted to, I could type notes to the student right here, which again is our student to teacher interaction. So there are really multiple ways that you can use this portfolio. I've had really good feedback. Students have really enjoyed using it and appreciated it. And I think you'll find that if you choose to use this, your students will as well. So I'm going to end this video now because I'm sure you can't wait to explore this free, I can say it again one more time, free site, SlideMania. And I know that you will find some excellent treasures in here.